everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. This is episode number 2. I'm your host, Adrian Michael Soto, and this is a little mini series of audio commentary of the projects I've created, which I've placed on my YouTube channel to those who have seen it. Appreciate it so much. Thank you, and thank you for all the feedback. This is going to be talking about my short film, The Letter. And really, the concept behind this was to just talk about how we all, unfortunately, will lose somebody in our lifetime. That's why we have to enjoy every moment of it, um, cherish it because we don't know when it's our last, not to get on a downer here in any way. And we're all going to lose somebody to unfortunate circumstances, not to go into specific details, but at the time of this filming of this project, I had done it in the spring of either 2022 or 2021. I have my dates wrong, but I'm sorry. But basically, I wanted to just show that even though we will lose someone in our lifetime, a loved one, a friend, a family member, they're never going to be forgotten. We're always going to cherish the memories, carry on their legacy in some form or fashion. And this, I would say, is a little bit of a tribute to my grandfather who had recently just passed. And once this was all said and done, I am grateful to the actors that were a part of this, my cameraman, um, and my parents who also helped a little bit as well. They get referenced in the credits. Um, Everybody, we were able to do this in one day. And throughout this, I'm going to be pausing just to explain each moment in the scene and why I wanted each part of this. Like this video was powered by StreamYard. Thank you for StreamYard for allowing me to use this site and do this sort of content for everybody on my channel. So as we go, here we go. Here's the letter. I'm gonna kind of lower it a little bit just to talk over it. And here we go. This is our main actress, Alex. She goes to her bag and she grabs a letter that is handed to her brother, who unfortunately, this will be spoilers to those who have not seen my short film. I have an extended version and the shorter version, and he unfortunately passed away from cancer, or he passed away. I never really put the gist, but he unfortunately passed away. He thought he could live it, but you'll see in the letter of what it says specifically. I don't think I put the specifics of what he passed away from, but she's hesitant to read the letter because this will be the last thing she ever reads to her brother, even though it'll be a memory she'll still have. But she just is living with not having her brother around, and that's the only thing to really remember him. And she's kind of down, just really sad. And this is a close-up shot in creating this project. When you go to college, you have to do film projects, and what was required was basically all sorts of different film aspects. My cameraman, this was one of them. She turns on the vehicle, and right there, during the editing process, I added jazz music, and you'll see her brother, Chris, who liked jazz. I don't know where I got jazz from. I just all of this is all original idea of the story concept and the characters. And she knew that her brother liked jazz, it begins to play. And what I did here was add the jazz music in the background, and there is no music playing from the car radio. The camera pans to her as if she was looking at the letter, and then the jazz music disappears, and she's still in the realization, just trying to get over the loss of her brother. And this is done. This whole film was done, like I said, in one day at the University of Texas at El Paso at UTEP. Throughout the day was nice, and as you'll see later on in the film, the wind was unbearable. And
Oh, my
Jeez,
bad.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
lower it a little bit. Speaking over, this was one frame shot set for both characters, and as you kind of see them talking to each other, basically Tony was a good friend to both Alex and Chris. They grew up together. They were childhood friends. I never really explained that because obviously it's a short film, but that was the gist of the setup of how well these two know each other per se. So they're childhood friends, and he's asking her how things are going, and just seeing how she's doing. This was shot. One camera was on one of her face, then on his face. We did just her lines, then his. It's all editing process to go just back and forth, and then the camera pans to him, and then back to her, just as what you see in the movies. And he references that he misses her brother, and if there's anybody that she's willing to talk to, just don't hesitate to ask. He's there just being respectful as a good friend. They hug each other, they part ways, the camera pans to her going away. We transition to the next scene where um and I can look up on the script, but this was an area that I decided, this is a Centennial Garden, and this is an area I decided where you have a place where we go to remember our family members or friends that used to love to be here, just a place to get away, just to talk, and it's one of those places that leaves those lasting memories. And Alex, as you're about to see, goes in, and this is the extended version that is showing just the scenery of the shots itself. A lot of this, quite a bit of this was cut out in the original version. None of this was shown except towards the end of the scene. And this is where Alex comes to decide to see where she'll finally read the letter. Then appears Tony again. And this was a little bit of a miss up. In the original version, his face does get cleared up with a little bit of the color adjustment. And they both just have the conversation of just um, talking about her brother Chris, and um, just not to don't feel like she's down, but then once she gets a little bit not hasty but defensive, that how could someone like Tony know that he lost someone this close to him, and he brings up that he lost his father um at a young age, but he really didn't know him. And this, I would say, did come personally per se, because on my father's side of my family, I never got to meet my both his mom and dad grandparents. They unfortunately passed away. I wasn't around, but as I said before, Their legacy and their memories live on through my dad and his brothers and sisters. And that's kind of like how I got the idea of what Tony explains to Alex about her father. And once she gets defensive, she suddenly apologizes to him. And this conversation is kind of like the first one, where it goes from the medium wide shot to the close ups of both characters. And she's basically feeling just down on her luck. She's basically feeling just down. And then she asks him, "Why didn't you mention your father?" He basically goes into saying that he was very young, didn't remember his father, but his mom told him that he was always going to be proud of him and just to do his best in life and to live life to the fullest. And once again, here in the edited version, in the extended version, excuse me, his face is darkened. I know on the original cut, I did make sure that I brightened it. And like I said, when you do any sort of little projects like this, you're going to deal with tons of little mishaps here and there, but don't freak out. That's why there's so much software that you're able to use just to get it down and know that you can know that it's something that it's fixable is what I'm trying to get at. So I'm going to continue to hit play and basically
And I have other people about me and
yeah, the audio to this clip is not that great. Like I said, you all can check on the YouTube channel. She goes up after he explains just the history of her father, the history of his father, and what he meant to him, even though his time with him was short lived, which unfortunately it even happens to some of us, like I said, for me. But um, then Tony just tries to convince her that you don't need to feel alone in any way just because um, after losing a family member, but at the same time, too, we all grieve in different ways, but don't feel like you're alone. You want to talk to somebody and just be feel you're more than welcome to talk to anybody like I said, and that's what Tony is trying to get to Alex here, and she's trying to reason with him. And as he has the conversation with him that him and his mom care about him, and she hugs, they part ways again. And this is the moment where she decides to open the letter from her brother. A cameraman is doing I believe an extreme close up onto the letter, and I had typed up what the actor you're about to see is going to read, and what ended up happening, as you'll see, let me play it. She slowly opens it. Then we transition to her brother, Chris, who writes the message um, saying that he thought that he could fight this and life is gonna suck without him, but he wants her to be strong and just being the best person that she can be, live life to the fullest, and listen to jazz music once in a while. And that's the gist of the letter. I remember it, obviously not word for word. That's a good summary of it. But as he's writing here, the actor he brought his tablet, and what we did here is first just shoot him on camera black and white as a memory, or you could say a flashback. And I timed it about a minute because first we recorded his voice, then we had him sit in the same spot that the actress was sitting in. Then he's reading the whole letter word for word. I didn't have him really rush. I didn't want him to feel too stressed out. And once he's just sitting there and he's just writing to know that he's always going to care about his sister and know that she'll always be there with him in spirit as it proceeds. um yeah, this was a kind of a simple shot too. This was more of a medium shot, and the editing here was not as bad. Just switched it to a black and white, which I think is cool. And obviously, they do that in movies. And now that she's written the letter, the song in the background is a non copyright free version of See You Again, which you can hear by Charlie Puth, but it only just has the instrumental parts and it's slowly playing in the background. She feels more of a sense of relief and not having to be stressed out, that we get a little bit of a take of her reading it because we had the shot of her brother reading the whole thing, and she knows that her brother's going to be there. We transition to her feeling different, happy, but still sad. Not to say that it's going to take a while for us to get over the loss of somebody. By all means, we're all different. I'm not saying you have to get over it within one day, but this is just her character changing and accepting that her brother loved her and will always be there for her. And she pans kind of like as another flashback, and we had the actor doing, instead of an air guitar, like an air instrument, an air saxophone, playing jazz, and the music is playing in the background. And I would say I thought of it being like a slow jazz, not him going all wild. And he did a perfect job here. Camera goes back to her. She smiles, walks away. And this shot is in the original a little bit. And I liked how, like, the cameraman goes from the sky down towards the fountain. And the music just fits perfectly with it. Quite a bit of it was cut out, and it goes back to where the scene originally started here. And as you can see in the background, the winds are lovely lasting, which are so annoying. And here in this scene, it's like in the first part of as she enters the vehicle, she decides to call Tony. He doesn't answer, leaves a message, and she basically says that she felt lost once she lost Chris, her brother, and knowing that she had a good friend in Tony and that he cared about. She just wanted to say thank you for just being a really good friend. And like I said, click on the video. What we did is we recorded the other Tony's voice and I put it into the film. You hear him kind of like as you hear a voicemail or voice message getting played back. And once it's all said and done, as I said, this is the extended version. The original version, it ends here, and it ends where, like I said, she knows that her brother's gonna be always around, and the love and support, and the jazz music plays, and we obviously do different takes. We shot the actor here as the cameraman was in the driver's seat, and then vice versa. kind of like as a flashback, as they've had a memory of listening to jazz. Jazz music gets played. She doesn't look to the corner, but she just closes her eyes and visualizes him being there. And it gets shown in the original. And I may have to do a different episode, but she feels a sense of relief not going for her bag. She just feels clarity, you could say. And excuse me, allergy season. It's windy, right? And this is the deleted scene, you could say, as a part of this extended edition. And as you see both actors' hair, it's windy. This was done in the springtime, and the winds are just so unbearable that I had microphones like how I have here on my shirt, and it didn't really work, but we did the best we could. I tried to block out the background noise, and Tony here says he likes the song, and she kind of likes more of an upbeat. Um, but they're enjoying this moment. At the time of this, the way this project was done, my professor had told me that it looked like a romantic relationship. I never really wanted it to be portrayed like that. It was more or less just a good friendship that you're always going to have those good friendships and friends. Guys can have girl friends and guy friends as well, or vice versa, one or the other. And I wanted to have a sunset shot. And during this time, we had to wait a while, and I was greatly appreciative of all three actors being in this film. It took a while for the sun to come down, so we did what we could in this scene. And the way this is, the wind is still going like crazy, and music is being played in the background, and the sun is still there. I would have said this probably was done at about 5, 6 o'clock on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon, and I didn't want them to wait too much long. Thankfully, I was able to get all of this done within one day, like I said, and the music overtakes it in a way. And but the wind, you got to block out the noise in editing, the sound, and all the background, and then just adding that. And I just wanted, I don't know, I've just always felt like um, a background, a sunset shot in films is kind of meaningful. You're at peace, you're at ease. It's like a relaxation, and that's what I kind of wanted. Just I mean, amongst between two childhood friends, and the actors just stay there for a while. I believe it was only just a few seconds. Our cameraman gets them from the back of the shot, and that's it. As you can see, the script was done by me. Once again, I want to thank Mara, Milton, and Jose, the three actors that were in this. My cinematographer was my good friend George Serrano. My dad helped me with second unit. I created this script and edited as well. The filming locations were at UTEP and those things, and the musics were royalty free, non copyrighted things. And this was done in the spring of 2022. So, this is the extended version of the letter. Like I said, it was to convey just the memory that we'll have and the way we deal with loss. Like I said, I never really, a lot of people thought that the brother, and this is, I don't want to skid around this, committed suicide. I didn't want it to be that way, but fortunately, that happens in life. It was just kind of losing somebody in a certain way and dealing with that and the best way we can, but knowing that we have a bunch of people around us who care about us and may also have memories about that person and are willing to share those stories and visit those places that that specific loved one loved to go to and just be a part of. I would say, like I said, it's a personal one to me because of the timing of this recording. Um, it was a fun project. For me, I've loved action films, sci-fi. I could have done something completely different, but kind of going in the beginning of the video as I explained the personal things that were related to this and why I decided to do it. So this was episode number 2 of Behind the Scenes. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Check out the videos of what I've done on the first episode of Behind the Scenes and the second one of the letter, the short version and the extended version. Share with anybody who hasn't seen it before. I appreciate those two who have seen it. Like I said, check on the channel later. I will be explaining more of other little projects I've done and of the podcast, my AMS podcast. I love doing that, and other things are along the way. I'm Adrian Michael Soto. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.